Welcome into Bengals Breakdown. Tom Downey here. You will see and hear from Stone Shields in a little bit on today's show. Before we get to that, if you want even more Bengals videos, almost all of them hosted by Stone, then share today's video on social media. Every share helps us grow here at Bengals Breakdown. The first topic of today's running back heavy focus show is a potential Chase Brown breakout season. USA Today had all of their affiliate sites, including Bengals Wire, list a potential breakout candidate. Their selection for the Bengals was Chase Brown, the second-year back. Here's what Chris Rowling wrote. Sophomore Chase Brown showed promise last year and would have had a bigger role as a rookie were it not for an untimely injury. He still averaged better than 4 yards per carry and caught 14 of 15 targets in a Jake Browning offense that wasn't exactly stretching the field. With elite speed and versatility, 1 year in the system, slot receiver wide open, Tyler Boyd gone, and an offense that will undergo under center more often, Brown could be a massive breakout in a potent offense. I liked what I saw from Chase Brown last season. The Bengals made a big deal this offseason about getting more big plays, getting more explosive. That's a big reason why they moved on from Joe Mixon. Chase Brown offers those types of big plays. It was a very small sample size last year for Brown, but he busted off several big runs in just his first year, and athletically, he has the juice to make big plays happen. So I am excited to see what Chase Brown can offer in his second season with the Bengals. Zach Moss will undoubtedly play a big role with the organization, but he will be able to give playing time to Chase Brown. The Bengals are going to plan on that being much more of a committee and a rotation and a shared backfield than what it was when Mixon dominated the touches and the workload. Coming out of Illinois, I had a fourth-round grade on Chase Brown. He was in my top 180, I believe, prospects. I liked what he offered. I thought it was a great pick by the Bengals. I thought he showed the juice that I think this team needs. I think they wanted and needed to find more big plays on offense that wasn't as reliant on just being T. Higgins or Jamar Chase, mostly Chase more often than not. He's so dynamic, getting big plays. They wanted more explosives on the ground. I think Chase Brown can absolutely offer that. So go down to the pinned comment of today's show and make sure you guys vote on it. Do you think Chase Brown is going to break out in the 2024 campaign? Not Y for yes and for no. That'll come later. It's a little bit different here. It's 30, as in 30 for Chase Brown, his number, or 0 for no, you don't think that will happen. Go vote at the pinned comment of today's show. Let's bring on Stone Shields then here. A little double cam action. Stone, I know you're a big fan of Chase Brown.
Oh, yeah.
How hard are you buying the breakout season?
Yeah, I'm totally buying it. When I think of Chase Brown, I think of a guy that could really fit in to the Bengals offense because, obviously they're going to throw the ball a lot with Joe Burrow playing quarterback. And, Zach Taylor's talked at length this offseason that Chase Brown's really done a nice job of improving as a pass catcher. So I could see him as a guy that can really make things happen in the screen game for Cincinnati and really just help open up their offense in a lot of different ways because he's so fast and has that speed. And we've talked about it on the show before. He's really just a firecracker waiting to explode at any given moment. So I got a lot of high hopes for Chase Brown.
Do you think there's a chance he ends up beating out Zach Moss for everyone, or is he just kind of the 1B?
Sure. I think, as the season starts and we talk about week 1 against New England, I think you're going to see Zach Moss run out there first. But I think, at some point, Zach Taylor would want that baton to be passed to Chase Brown as running back 1. I think maybe he could be a little bit further along than he is now if he didn't have that injury last year because I remember fans and, just people around the league were talking about, oh, we haven't seen this guy. And he was just kind of, at a slow pace because he got injured early on, so he didn't get as much time as maybe the team would have wanted. But I do think that is the Bengals' plan at some point. Bringing in Zach Moss, he is a veteran, but he's not a guy that's going to come in and, be running back 1 for a long time for you. I think he's just kind of filling in that role for Joe Mixon, and the Bengals would love for Chase Brown to take that spot eventually.
We'll go more in depth on this in the rest of today's show, but I want to get your thoughts too. Do you think the Bengals, last question, need to get another back in that rotation?
I do. I think when you look at where the Bengals need to add depth on their team, there's 2 spots that really pop out at you, one being running back, the other being cornerback. But, I like what I see when Chris Evans is out on the field. But for whatever reason, the coaches don't trust him, and he's just not out on the field a lot, and that's a major red flag. And I think the Bengals certainly would like to add depth in terms of a veteran, and we'll get into potentially some guys that could be added to that room later on in the show.
You will hear more from Stone all season, off season long. He is going to be the full-time Bengals Breakdown host, but the other producer is out of town. Stone knows how to produce, so we're kind of combining the forces a little bit here differently than what it would normally be. You'll see plenty of him throughout this offseason. And if you haven't already, folks, go get the Chat Sports, or the Fanatics, I should say, Bengals draft hats over at chatsports.com/Bengals draft hats. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. I would check out the link. You can kind of see the 3D effect, especially on the black. It's a little bit more obvious that they're going for there. It's easier to see it on your phone or desktop as opposed to trying to pause and zoom awkwardly on YouTube. So check out chatsports.com/Bengals draft hat for the official 2024 Bengals NFL draft hat. Like Stone alluded to, the rest of today's show looking at the potentiality of the Bengals adding another running back to the organization. The Athletic wanted to discuss one concern for all 32 teams, and Paul Dehner picked the running back spot behind Moss and behind Chase Brown. Here's what he wrote. The shift from Joe Mixon to a combination of Zach Moss and Chase Brown came by design to create more explosiveness and versatility. Yet, the Bengals feel one man short as they search for a third down back. Moss can fill the role, but backups Travion Williams and Chris Evans need competition. Now, I do think Chase Brown could do some of the third down stuff. Maybe it is more some. I think it's more the pass catching than it is the pass blocking. Most first-year players are not good in pass protection running back. They don't do a good job of teaching it in college, in part because when you're a great playmaker and the running back, everyone gets the ball in the passing game too, so you're not staying in the block a ton. A big deal last year, that third down role, right? Travion Williams is going to replace Samaje Perine. That role was a big deal, big talking point for Bengals media and the team itself for the offseason, the preseason. They never truly replaced Samaje Perine in that role. They never found the way to have somebody step in and emerge as that guy. They never had someone to really take it over. And they don't maybe have one now. I think you could rotate Zach Moss and Chase Brown, but if you are searching for a specific third down back who you don't need to be heavily involved in early downs, say we're going to have Moss and Brown involved in early downs, then maybe it does start to make a little bit more sense and be a need for Cincinnati. So predictions. Will the Bengals add another running back? Y for yes, they will. N for no, they will not. We'll get to some of the names mentioned by Paul Dehner here in a second, but let me know in the comments. Dehner also wrote as part of that piece for The Athletic, Samaje Perine filled this masterfully in 2022 and might end up being the answer here if Denver cuts him, but the Bengals never replaced him. Jerick McKinnon, Joshua Kelley, Latavius Murray, Matt Breida are all free agents and took a higher percentage of third and long snaps than any Bengals running back last year. So first, Perine. And I do like the notes that Dehner made about guys that were mostly third and long backs. I appreciate that. That was Perine's role, right? And he didn't do a ton for Denver last year. He only had 53 carries. They paid him big money. There was a point they felt like they were going to trade him, maybe even cut him. With what Denver has in the backfield, with Jaleel McLaughlin, they draft Audric Estime, they have Javonte Williams back. I think there's a really viable chance that Denver cuts Perine, that they save some money, move on from him, and then it's once again Samaje Perine back to Cincinnati rumors, which we've done before. So do you want Perine back with the Bengals? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Go ahead and sound off for me. Where else with the comment section of today's show. The other names mentioned by Dehner, Jerick McKinnon, I think is the most noteworthy name on this list. He's mostly a pass catcher. I mean, he had more catches than carries last year with way better production. And he's been more productive in years past. I think it's telling that the Chiefs chose to bring back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't really know how much interest there's going to be in McKinnon. I wonder if he's that much of an upgrade over Chase Brown, if you're going to use Brown in the screen game like Stone mentioned. Sure, if you want to do it, that's probably the best of the bunch of this four-man group here. But I don't know how much he's really adding to your roster. But if you think it's better than Travion Williams, okay. And maybe that third down back, by the way, helps you on returns. McKinnon, at least used to, he's getting a bit older now, has the athletic juice that teams crave. Joshua Kelley. Look, I don't want to be mean here, but I'm going to be mean here. The term Jag does not always refer to the Jacksonville Jags. It often refers to players who are, quote-unquote, just a guy. Joshua Kelley's just a guy. His numbers are not eye-popping. The athletic profile is not eye-popping. I don't know if he's any better than Travion Williams. Competition, sure, I guess, but I don't know if he's any better. Now, we will have Bengals watch parties this year for you in a way we could not do last season. And Stone will be running those. So make sure you guys are subscribed. YouTube.com/BengalsTV. Latavius Murray is an interesting type of back, much different than McKinnon. He is more of your power back, and he can do some pass protection stuff that I think does offer some value. But I'm not trying to give him the ball in space. And I think part of my issue here, how do we define third down back? Do we want someone to be a pass protector, or do you want someone to be a pass catcher? Murray can do the pass protection stuff, not a great pass catcher. Matt Breida does offer some pass catching value, although he's kind of very much tapered off the last couple seasons there. Breida has. Wasn't very good last year for the Giants. Had that really small outlier sample size in Miami and Buffalo, and might just be another example of a Shanahan creation back. So I'm most intrigued by McKinnon and Perine if he gets cut, but I'm also down just to give Moss and Brown big-time workloads.